What's up, dudes? Max here, back with an update to Soul Calibur 6. As some of you know, I had the chance to jump up to San Francisco again to play a bit more of one of the latest builds of the game. Now, the latest build specifically means that they haven't even gotten to the latest ones with Zasalamel as well as Ivy. Meaning that the latest, newest characters in here were essentially Nightmare, Grow, and Keelik. But it didn't stop me because I wanted to grab some footage and mess around a bit with Nightmare, as he is easily one of my most anticipated characters to play with in this game. Well, to be honest, Siegfried is, but I've always been a huge fan of the Siegfried character archetype, especially back in Soul Calibur 2. My biggest problem is that I didn't play Nightmare beyond Soul Calibur 2, and that's when the character took a split, where Siegfried played a certain way, and Nightmare played kind of a different way. So I spent a lot of time trying to understand what the hell Nightmare does in this game, and the one thing I really wanted to focus on was the big change to Soul Calibur 6 in its Soul Charge mechanic. Soul Charge in previous games essentially gave your character a somewhat of a unique install, where your next attack was going to be like a counter hit or something like that. I think it's that way the majority of games, albeit I hadn't played a whole bunch of Soul Calibur 3, 4, and 5. I played a lot more of Soul Calibur 1 and 2. For this game, they inherently tried to make the Soul Charge something very unique. Outside of the fact that we know characters have supers in this game and they're crazy and big and they look different than previous Soul Calibur games, but one of the bigger things that's being overlooked right now in Soul Calibur 6 is that Soul Charge is essentially acting as a V-trigger slash instinct mode slash meter install that allows your character to get access to a lot more things than they normally do. Specifically, with almost any character in the roster, they seem to get several more moves per character, as well as an enhancement to either like speed or strength, or whether or not your character is losing life. For the example of Keelik, when he goes into quite literally evil Keelik, it acts like a berserk. His bar starts going down in terms of health, but he gets access to a ton more moves. If there is one thing that appears to be universal between all the characters, they do get enhancements in terms of special moves, where we're seeing all the characters in the game do more special attacks that have been seen throughout all the Soul Calibur games. So they're doing things that never really have been seen before, which is very, very, very cool. Especially in the consideration of Soul Calibur, these are legacy characters that kind of carry over a lot of their moveset and animations from previous games. And many of these new things that are within Soul Charge are completely brand new animations and new moves, and they look freaking awesome. Which is why specifically I wanted to set out to mess around with Nightmare and get a good idea of what his new Soul Charge moves actually do and what they look like, and hopefully give you guys some examples. One of the more interesting aspects of using Soul Charge is that it is a 1 meter kind of cost. With every character, you can spend 1 bar to activate Soul Charge, and it gives you a limited period of which your character is buffed out for. But for some characters, that period lasts longer than others, and in some situations like Nightmare, you can get access to your Soul Charge mode without even using the meter by connecting or even whiffing certain special moves, so let's quickly go over that. Just as a reminder, this is from a pre-release build of the game, so things might absolutely change. This isn't to give you guys a competitive edge. It's more of a demonstration of some of the mechanics that are going to be present in Soul Calibur 6 when it does drop, and some of the stuff I'm kind of looking forward to. Now, some of these notations might be wrong as I'm mentioning this, but we did not have access to any move lists, so I just had to kind of figure it out. I believe the activation of this move was forward with A and B, and by doing so, you give yourself a sphere around Nightmare, and whether or not this thing lands or whiffs, you'll be getting the buff regardless. Whenever you see the purple slash pink stuff that's all around Nightmare, it means he's currently buffed out from the Soul Charge technical buff, but you can get it another way. By landing a down AB attack, you can stab the opponent and cause an explosion, which also gives you a small Soul Charge buff. It also seemed that if you whiff the attack, you get it for a little while, but if you connect the attack, it seems to last quite a bit longer. So what does this give you? Like I said earlier, modifiers to current moves that the character already has, if not brand new moves. Most of the modifiers come in the form of A plus B attacks, whether or not it's forward or down or back, pressing AB while in stance, things like that. You get different moves that I've never really seen before in the Soul Calibur games, so let's kind of go over the few of the ones I've found. This rushing kick attack also gets a grab animation right after that explodes the opponent. Nightmare also has this misstep approach move which modifies some attacks, and pressing A and B during it gives you this crazy set of swipes that crosses the opponent. If you're in back hold and press A and B while charged up, you get this huge assortment of attacks that are mostly highs, but I have seen set up for some juggle situations if it is a counter hit. Low stance while charged with A and B gives you a lunging somersault double attack. And side stance gives you this multi-strike, which is pretty much a bunch of vertical mids. Other attacks do also get multiple versions that are modified, like his forward stab. If you press the attack multiple times, it just hits way more than it normally does. And it seemed to be the case with a lot of other stuff. There were just modifiers on top of what he normally does. And although I didn't get a ton more examples beyond this was some of the stuff I was able to find without the move list, it just had me really excited. It had me excited to see the characters doing more things than they normally do. I definitely remember seeing things different on Kilik and Grow and even Mitsurugi when they are in Soul Charge. Stuff changes, and that's really cool. That's one of the aspects of Soul Calibur that I wasn't expecting. The characters are heavily modified when Soul Charge does happen, and I'll do my best in the future to get more footage of this. The toughest part, like I said, no move list, so we kind of just have to go through things one by one to see what's different, and that can take quite a bit of time. But overall, I find this stuff really exciting. This is one of the bigger changes to Soul Calibur 6 in terms of the previous Legacy games, and I think this stuff looks really awesome. I'm very much looking forward to more characters being in the game right now. We've only seen maybe about 10 or so characters so far within the roster, and I would only hope that the game is going to launch with something past 20 to 25. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to the most with SC6 is just more characters, more cool stuff they can do, and eventually that character creator, maybe a video of my hopes for Soul Calibur 6 and the things I'm very much looking forward to is in order in the near future. As always, dudes, thank you a ton for watching. This is a small sneak peek at what the Soul Charge is going to be doing just for one character that I'm looking forward to, so imagine what it's going to be like for the rest of the roster. Thank you a ton for any thumbs up on the video. My name is Max, and I'll see you next time.